everyone, it's the Nitro RC Nerds here for another edition of Nitro RC for Dummies. And today you can see that I have the Professor taken quite a bit apart because what we're going to do is change the steering servo on him. And I know, a lot of you might be thinking, wow, I can't believe, you had to take all the components apart like that just to change the steering servo. Unfortunately, with the Exceed Forza, that is just kind of the nature of the game when dealing with it. So what we're going to do is actually switch my Hobao that came off of the Hyper 7 on with, with the stock Exceed Forza. I don't know anything about the specs for it or anything like that, but I do know that it will fit. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. Once you have the battery compartment out, the thing that you'll want to do is simply find where the steering servo plugs into the receiver. After you've unplugged it, it's a matter of just pulling it out, and luckily, hopefully, this isn't going to be one of those ones that are difficult to get out, but really you just need to pull it through this little hole right here, as the case with all servos. And you can see here, one-handed while filming, wasn't difficult to get out. I actually had to end up splicing this at one point because one of the wires got cut on it, but I'll still save it because it's operable. So after you've done that, you take your new servo and you simply get the wire and you put it under the little battery housing, again within that little opening there, and you plug it into where you took the old one out. And you got to make sure, obviously, that you line the pins correctly. You probably should just take this one out first, so I don't have to force that in there. And let's take a look here, see what we got going on. I think it should go in like that. There's that one, and then here's the throttle. Putting the throttle back in. Of course, before you do anything, you'll want to test all your connections so it looks good. Now you simply get your wires, your components, and put them all back in. One of the things that I actually do like about the Exceed Hyper 7 is that there's quite a bit of room to work with inside of the receiver compartment, unlike certainly the Hyper 7. That's very, very difficult to do anything inside of, so I really hate when I have to mess with the receiver, which I've had to do quite a bit lately because for whatever reason it's losing its binding. However, you've got that in there, you just simply screw the lid back on. Now, ironically, I'm hoping you guys can see this here, when I was looking at the old servo that was on it, I noticed that a piece had broken off. It was screwed in from the bottom, so I guess it held form, okay? But so it's a good thing that I'm replacing it, because essentially it was this piece that broke off. But that's okay, because now all we need to do is simply put the old one to the side at least, and then you take the new one. It's a little bit easier, I think, than other ones to install. Probably the best way is just get your screws, put them through the holes like that, get your Phillips, and simply screw them in. So now I have one side of the throttle servo, or excuse me, the steering servo put together, really, if you want to call it that. Now I just need to take this piece off and put it under here. And to do that, once again, I simply unscrew this part here, take it off. Now I can finally put the old one away. And you take these components and once again put them back on here. Very simple process, I believe, at least. It's just a matter of aligning everything up correctly. And so now we have our new servo mounted, at least within its mounts, so we can place it on the car. And now of course comes the fun part, where I get to put this in without Andrew here helping me. He's out at my parents' house, but the gist of it is there's these two little button things that are coming from the bottom of the servo, and excuse me, right there. And really all that you need to do when you place it in is just ensure that they line up with, there's two little holes that go in there like such. Now what you get to do is turn it over and screw it in. So one of the great things about filming by myself is that for the past few minutes, when I turned the camera off I thought it was on, and when I turned it on to do a few things I thought it was off. So anyways, all you missed really is I just went ahead and bolted on the servo to the car itself, and I put the steering horn on. So now we just want to test it, and it looks good to me. Now it's just a matter of putting everything back together. And one other tip, when you have exposed wiring like this, do everything you can to thread it right back up into the housing area, or else you're going to end up stripping it. Especially on this model here, you can see how close it actually is to the spur gears. So that's the one thing you want to be very, very careful of, is that it doesn't engage the spur gear. And I found one of the best ways to do it, because you're always going to have a little bit exposed, is to simply thread this across on the outside of that little post right there, so that won't even go near the spur gear. And that's it. And so now it's all put back together. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope that you have a great day. Just remember, don't be afraid if you have an Exceed Forza to get into it and upgrade it and modify it and do anything to it that you feel like. Changing the steering servo took me all of maybe 20 minutes to do. And so again, it's just a matter of learning and getting in there and not being afraid to get your hands dirty. It will make all the difference in the world, I promise. Have a great day.